Even a broken clock is right twice a day. And so I was interested in this analysis from CNN on the historic levels of support the Republicans are getting from black folk under Trump. They are perplexed, the folk at CNN, but they acknowledge this is a seismic shift.
And more than that, it's not just that Joe Biden is losing ground, it's that Donald Trump is gaining ground. You go from 7%, single digits at this point in 2020, to now 21%. And again, John, I keep looking for signs that this is going to go back to normal, and I don't see it yet in the polling. If anything, right now we're careening towards a historic performance for a Republican presidential candidate, the likes of which we have not seen in 6 decades. Look at black voters under the age of 50. Holy cow, folks. Holy cow. Look at this. Joe Biden was up by 80 points among this group back at this point in 2020. Look at where that margin has careened down towards. It's now just, get this, 37 points. That lead has dropped by more than half, Mr. Berman. I just never seen anything like this. I'm like speechless, because you always look at history and you go, okay, this is a historic moment. If this polling is anywhere near correct, we are looking at a historic moment right now where black voters under the age of 50, which have historically been such a big part of the Democratic coalition, are leaving it in droves.
Josh, Donald Trump has launched his Black Voter Coalition group. His campaign is saying historic rates of black voters are now behind the Republican candidate. And if those CNN figures are accurate, what's that going to mean for the Democrats going forward? They have just relied on getting 90% plus of the black vote for decades now.
Yeah, you know, Rita, I'm trying not to laugh too hard over here because Harry Enton is the CNN data analyst that we just saw. I've actually known Harry since he and I were both 18 years old. He and I go way back. He's probably the only straight shooter at CNN. He is not a far left liberal guy. He calls it like he sees it, but Harry knows his audience, and he knows that the CNN audience is a liberal audience. So he's just trying to do what any good television broadcaster should do, which is just try to be very honest with your audience. And here, honesty means that Joe Biden's intersectional coalition is falling apart. Black voters are peeling away at record pace for very simple bread and butter reasons, because the economy in the United States has never been good. Bidenomics, they teased it out like a wet balloon that went absolutely nowhere last year. They haven't talked about Bidenomics since November. They for a little while, that's all they talked about. Then they decided that they couldn't bamboozle Americans into thinking that Bidenomics was anything other than a stink bomb, so they let it go. Inflation, of course, reached 9.1%, a 40-year high back in the summer of 2022. The economy formally entered a recession back in that same year, 2022. So black voters are peeling away from Joe Biden for the same reason that many underrepresented minorities, Hispanic voters among them, are peeling away, which is that they don't like the way that the country is being governed right now. And if these numbers are real, and as Harry said right there on CNN, we have every indication to believe that the shift actually is real, especially for young black men. Young black men are now supporting Trump 25, sometimes even 30% in polls. That could easily make or break the election when it comes to states like Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, all of which have sizable black populations there. But the broader point to read is that the entire post-2008 Barack Obama, Joe Biden era Democratic Party, which is built on the house of cards of intersectionalism and identity politics, it's all falling apart right now. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to the Middle East conflict, obviously. They can't make the Arab voters in Michigan happy, but then they can't make the Jewish voters happy either, or the majority of Americans who support Israel for that matter. So everywhere you look, this whole identity politics thing is falling apart for them. And, you know, frankly, as a conservative, I kind of love to see it.